Namaste. Good morning, everybody. Whether you're watching this now or whether you're watching this later, it is time for Mantra Monday. This is edition, or I should say, text number 41. Excuse me. These are text number 41 and 42 from Bhagavad Gita as it is. That is the devotional bhakti text and translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So there's a lot of different versions of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita means song of the Lord. Bhagavad, Bhagavan, which refers to the opulent, supreme person. And what can I say? It can be confusing. It can be confusing because there's an attempt to obscure the words, which are very, very plain. So my purpose in doing these Mantra Mondays is to pass on the message that we're not alone, essentially. We're not alone, and that the universe is divinely intelligent and personal. Of course, it would be better if we behave nicely to each other. So we have personal responsibility in this world. We were given free will, right? So it's up to us to decide how we want to behave towards each other, how we want to treat each other, and how we want to treat the planet and other living entities. But the Bhagavad Gita is giving insight on how to be compassionate, really, how to live, as a self-realized yogi. And there are different stages in this. So, of course, in the conditioned state that we are now, where we're trying to reawaken our constitutional position, there is a process that you go through. It's called sadhana bhakti, which primarily involves shravanam kirtanam, chanting and hearing. But then there are so many other activities, just activities that we do living on the day-to-day, that we can dovetail with that process of moving forward and becoming self-realized. Everything from how we eat and how we sleep, and what we offer, and our state of mind, our state of consciousness. And it takes practice. So the Bhagavad Gita as it is really sets the foundation, provides a roadmap. And so this whole conversation between Prince Arjuna and Bhagavan Sri Kṛṣṇa on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is a whole series of questions and answers that goes through systematically, in this case, or I should say divided up into chapters, answering the burning questions of what we like to call the human condition. I'm just going to close the door behind me. That was Noah, if you didn't hear the little bell and the sound of pitter-patter of paws coming to check on me. But I'm going to close the door because there's a little bit of a draft. All right, so that's my preamble for this morning. As far as housekeeping goes, you'll notice that in the description, there is the Sanskrit, there is the word-for-word translation, there's the Roman transliteration, and there's the English straight-ahead translation, and there is the purport also. So you can follow along if you want to, or check back if you're watching this later. And also, if you happen to be here live, or if you're not here live, if you look in the chat stream, if you look in the chat box, you can sign up for text alerts if you would like text alerts right before I go live, because we're all busy people, at kayanimusic.com/mantra-mondays. And if you'd like to support this channel because you appreciate what I'm doing here, You can donate $2 at paypal.me/sakheti music. It's really, really appreciated because it helps keep the internet on, and services like this one that I'm using, like Restream, which gives me the ability to reach y'all on YouTube, my YouTube channel, and on my band page, Facebook, at the same time, which is pretty awesome. That costs me $19 a month. Okay. So let's get into it. This is a beautiful, beautiful verses, and I hope that you've got your Kleenex out and maybe you're prepared to shed a tear. I know I did when I went over this again this morning. So last week we were talking about text 40. Arjuna was offering obeisances to his friend Kṛṣṇa from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything. That was text 40. So this one goes like this. Sakheti matvā prasabhaṁ yad uktaṁ. Hey Kṛṣṇa, hey Yādava, hey sakheti. Ajānatā mahimānaṁ tavedaṁ. Mayā pramādāt praṇayena vāpi. Cāvahāsārtham asat-kṛto vihāra-śayyāsana-bhojaneṣu. Vāpy acyuta tat-samakṣaṁ. tat-samakṣaṁ tvām aham aprameyam. So I'm going to repeat text 41 and 42 again. Sakheti matvā prasabhaṁ yad uktaṁ. Hey Kṛṣṇa, hey Yādava, hey sakheti. Ajānatā mahimānaṁ tavedaṁ. Mayā pramādāt praṇayena vāpi. cāvahāsārtham asat-kṛto vihāra-śayyāsana-bhojaneṣu. vāpy acyuta tat-samakṣaṁ. tat-samakṣam tvām aham aprameyam. Good morning, whoever's watching. Good morning. Word for word translation. Sakhā, friend. Iti, thus. Matvā, thinking. Prasabhaṁ, presumptuously. Yat, whatever. Uktaṁ, said. Hey Kṛṣṇa, O Kṛṣṇa. Hey Yādava, O Yādava. Hey Sakhā, O my dear friend. Iti, thus. Ajānatā, without knowing. Mahimānaṁ, glories. Tava, your. Idam, this. Mayā, by me. Pramādāt, out of foolishness. Praṇayena, out of love. Vāpy, either. Yat, whatever. Cha, also. Avahāsa-artham, for joking. Asat-kṛtaḥ, dishonored. Ashi, you have been. Vihāra, in relaxation. Śayyā, in lying down. Asana, in sitting. Bhojaneṣu, or while eating together. Ekaha, alone. Atava, or. Apī, also. Acyuta, O infallible one. tat-samakṣam, among companions. Tat, all those. kṣāmaye, ask forgiveness. Tvām, from you. Aham, I. Aprameyam, immeasurable. Translation. Prince Arjuna says, thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Kṛṣṇa, O Yādava, O my friend, and not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you. I have dishonored you many times. jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Okay, so like I said, this is an emotional um, exchange in Bhagavad Gita as it is. Again, Arjuna is seeing the universal form of the Lord. Kṛṣṇa, because Arjuna asked him to, is displaying himself where Arjuna can literally see past, present, and future. He can see the whole universe. He can see all the living entities. He is seeing his own destiny. He is seeing death, right? He is seeing uh, his, enemies or those that are opposing him on the battlefield, rushing towards death or dying. He's even seeing warriors on his side, the Pandava side, also dying. He is seeing the sun, the moon, the stars. He's seeing everything in the same place at the same time in the Lord's form. And he is overwhelmed, right? Because he's known Kṛṣṇa. This is a very, very endearing. There are different bhajans. There are different um, bhajans or different songs, right? Different kirtans where where God will be addressed like this, hey, hey Govinda, hey Yādava, hey, it's very sweet. And so this is the kind of relationship that the bhaktas, right, the devotees, have with the Lord. They have a very intimate relationship with the Lord. There are nicknames you've noticed throughout the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita that, depending on what they're talking about, depending on what they're referring to, Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna have different names, different ways, different appellations that they address each other, like Savyasachin, right? Or Dhananjaya. So Kṛṣṇa is saying to Arjuna, "Oh Savyasachin, you're a great archer," or "Oh Dhananjaya, oh winner of wealth." Uh, or here, for example, um, Kṛṣṇa is, I should say, excuse me, Arjuna is saying, I've addressed you like, oh, Yādava. Yādava means, um, is indicating that Kṛṣṇa appeared in the family or the dynasty of the Yadus, right? This is a way to identify. You may have nicknames also. I know in my family, they have different nicknames for each other. And so this is affectionate, right? This is a sign of affection. But here, again, for our sake, and to um, instill some appreciation in us of the grandeur, of the majesty of, again, the desire to establish Kṛṣṇa as a supreme personality of Godhead. In other words, if someone is claiming to be God, then they need to be able to display their universal form. Remember, that is the purpose of this chapter. That is the purpose of this particular pastime that is going on here, is that Arjuna was convinced, but he wanted others to understand, and to be able not to be fooled, and to know really what to ask and what it is, what needs to be displayed, right? But at the same time, now that he is witnessing this, he's taking stock of his past exchanges and his past relationships, and feeling he's feeling, how shall I say, almost like kind of, if remorse is exactly the same word, but he's feeling like, I was too familiar with you. I didn't really understand who you are. I really didn't understand what your position is. And I'm sorry for that. If I offended you in any way by being too familiar, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Okay, so why am I crying here? I'm trying to put my feelings into words. Arjuna is a great, great devotee. He is an eternal companion of the Lord. This Leela, this exchange that is happening here for our benefit, happens again and again and again, not only in this universe, but in other universes where there's other Earth planets. And when I think about my current situation as a conditioned soul, struggling, trying to make progress, and being so fallen, really, so covered over, it's just incredible to me what a tender exchange that this is. It's just incredible to me, the grace that is being shown here. Um, okay, so let me read the purport. Let me try and get through the purport. Maybe that will help explain how I'm feeling. Although Kṛṣṇa is manifested before Arjuna in his universal form, Arjuna remembers his friendly relationship with Kṛṣṇa and is therefore asking pardon and requesting Kṛṣṇa to excuse him for the many informal gestures which arise out of friendship. He is admitting that formerly he did not know that Kṛṣṇa could assume such a universal form, although Kṛṣṇa explained it as his intimate friend. Arjuna did not know how many times he may have dishonored Kṛṣṇa by addressing him, "Oh, my friend, oh, Kṛṣṇa, oh, Yādava," etc., without acknowledging his opulence. Kṛṣṇa is so kind and merciful that in spite of such opulence, he played with Arjuna as a friend. Such is the transcendental loving reciprocation between the devotee and the Lord. The relationship between the living entity and Kṛṣṇa is fixed eternally. It cannot be forgotten, as we can see from the behavior of Arjuna. Although Arjuna has seen the opulence in the universal form, he cannot forget his friendly relationship with Kṛṣṇa. So this is why Kṛṣṇa, who knows he's great, who knows he has everything, Kṛṣṇa is perfectly self-aware. God is perfectly self-aware. He's not only self-aware, he's aware of everything at all times in all places. But it's kind of a drag, meaning if he is he's the king of all relationships, but if the person or the persons that he is trying to have a relationship with are always in this mood of awe and reverence, right? Then it gets in the way. It gets in the way of this intimacy, right? So that is why, again, Kṛṣṇa uses his internal potency, his Ladini Shakti, to make these very exalted devotees, to make these eternally liberated persons forget his position, because then how can they joke and play around and roughhouse, and how can Mother Yasoda actually think that Kṛṣṇa is dependent upon her? How can Mother Yasoda express that feelings of parental love? How can Nanda Maharaj, Kṛṣṇa's father, the devotee in that role of a father, uh, express these protective qualities, towards his son? How can all these things happen? They can't. So this verse is beautiful because it's showing both possibilities. It's showing both realities at the same time. So, Arjuna is acknowledging Krishna's supreme position. He's also uh, apologizing for any familiarity or any offense that he may have committed. Of course, Krishna's not taking any offense, actually, but we have to be careful with that because Arjuna is not an ordinary person. He is extremely qualified bhakta. We're not there yet. We have to be careful. Still, this is a beautiful lotus flower. This is a beautiful bloom, that we are allowed to experience. This is a beautiful fragrance that we are allowed to smell and imbibe this morning. And at the same time, he's also can't forget, his relationship with Krishna, all the loving exchanges that I had. In fact, while this particular part of this dialogue is going on, Arjuna is still standing on the chariot that Krishna is driving for him, right? Even in this situation, Krishna has agreed to be the chariot driver of Arjuna. And he's acting as his friend throughout this entire situation and ordeal that he's about to go through, essentially trying to help him calm his nerves and get a universal and a cosmic perspective on what is going on. So, without saying too much more, this is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful verse in this incredible chapter, the universal form, which is a kaleidoscope of perspectives and emotions and feelings, while also being wonderful kind of a recap and summation of chapter 10, the opulence of the absolute. So when we get together next Monday, we'll go over text 43 and text 44, which continues to, how shall I say, bundle up, put into perspective uh, what our position is, what every living entity's position is, while we are here, struggling with the mind and the senses, struggling with other living entities, right? And struggling with the elements. The Bhagavad Gita is really about self mastery while we are living in the world, how to live in the world, but how to not to be of the world. All right. Well, I thank you very much. This was short this morning. It's 8:23. If you have a question or something and you want to put it in the chat box, you're welcome to do so. Um, this is a special week. There's actually a special full moon. Gaur Pranim is coming up at the end of the week. I'm considering whether or not to do a special little program for that. An edition of that. If you think that would be interesting, let me know. And other than that, I wish you a wonderful rest of the week. Also, to let you know, uh, my birthday's coming up. It's officially on April 8th, but I'll be celebrating it with you, I hope, for another dance off challenge on Instagram. So, check that out. Check that invitation out on my Facebook page. Okay, have a great rest of your day, y'all. Namaste. Thank you very much.